I'm going to leave you with one thought today, Bryce. I now know categorically that the Tic Tac is Lockheed Martin technology. Categorically.
Okay.
The Tic Tac is Lockheed Martin technology. Why are we being lied to?
So let's just take into consideration real quick, okay, that if David Freyer and all these other pilots found out later that this was actually US secret technology, black tech, that, is so covered with national security, secrecy laws, you know, even David, he said that whatever that was, he wants to fly that thing, right? Because it was outmaneuvering his aircraft in every single way imaginable. And I don't know, I think the five observables was present. So, I mean, if this turns out to be true, does that mean that we were the aliens all along? I don't know. Many would disagree. We're going to be finding out. We're going to be talking about it. So make sure you stay to the end because there's a really big surprise there. And you're not going to want to miss anything. And leave a like, subscribe, notifications on. I appreciate the fuck out of each and every single individual one. Okay?
What I was told, and I'm reasonably sure that this is the case, is that the Tic Tac was being operated by Lockheed Martin. And it's conceivable that that was being operated neuromeditatively, psionically, by a human psionic, which is what I understand is the way that these retrieved non-human craft are being operated.
If I am quite honest, right, this fits perfectly into the whole reality that we're living in because we do know that these advanced F-35s have these, headset that the pilots put on, and they can do so much more and more effectively because of that. So imagine like these psionics being used, maybe with the headset involved as well. I have no fucking idea, but where they control this, craft which is anti-gravity, and I mean, it would crush any human. Maybe the force field around it, those theories are false. That would protect this, whatever it's in it. And maybe it's just because it's an unmanned fucking drone that's anti-gravitic. Like, what do you guys think? This is really things to consider, and it's making it hella interesting.
It's been a very interesting week with the public response to the comments that I've made on the show that I do with my friend and colleague Bryce Zabel, Need to Know, where we discussed what I've been told by my sources, multiple sources by the way, that Lockheed Martin was indeed behind the Tic Tac encounter of 2004 with the USS Nimitz battle carrier group. I guess that's one of the questions people want to ask us about, Megan.
You recently mentioned the Tic Tac was produced slash manufactured by Lockheed Martin, but you never mentioned if it was under autonomous flight or piloted. P.S. Love your reporting. Thank you, Charles.
That's a good question, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know for sure. I have been told previously that when Tic Tacs, you see, one of the other things I want to clarify here as well is there are NHI Tic Tacs. A lot of people seem to be thinking that I'm suggesting that all Tic Tacs are Lockheed Martin. That's not the case at all. What I was told, and I'm reasonably sure that this is the case, is that the Tic Tac was being operated by Lockheed Martin. And it's conceivable that that was being operated neuromeditatively, psionically, by a human psionic, which is what I understand is the way that these retrieved non-human craft are being operated. It's not clear to me, though, whether this is a craft that was built by Lockheed Martin or whether it is Lockheed Martin testing the use of neuromeditative signaling, as our friends at Skywatcher call it, to operate one of these craft. I just can't answer that question specifically. All I can do is tell you what I've been told by my multiple sources, which is that the operation of the Tic Tac was being controlled on the day by Lockheed Martin. Now, I want to say here, let's be really clear about this, there is always the possibility that sources that talk to a journalist like me may be malign. They may indeed be running some kind of psyop. And of course, I've taken that into consideration in asking the question. The difficulty is I can't go into the detail for very obvious reasons about who these sources are and why I think so strongly that those sources are telling me the truth.
Okay, so we have fucking psionic operatives that are controlling these egg-shaped objects, Tic Tac, whatever the fuck. Like, we see how the war in Ukraine and Russia is playing out. There's so much drone usage. Like, I think it's better in a way for countries to target each other financially instead of targeting, civilians and people getting hurt. But yeah, these drones, it's being used a lot more, and now this is coming out. It's really interesting. Maybe the US is in, control of some really advanced and serious shit, right? So I just want to give a massive thanks to all these recent people that have been interacting and going the extra mile, especially Jules. This person has been helping out a ton, guys. So make sure to thank her in the comments or whatever, right? Evan, we got the average Asian gamer. Guys, it's going well, okay? Big thanks to these individuals. We got the Patreon. There's a free subscription you can get, but obviously the $1 subscription is much preferred, okay? There's a 51 too, but that's dreams for one day, am I right?
And I can tell you there are a lot of people who are assuring me that I'm flat wrong. And that's fine. But let's have a discussion about this.
Hi, Megan. A simple question for Ross to shed light on his statement about the Tic Tac. To be clear, even if Ross seems confident the Tic Tac is U.S. tech, does he think it's a reverse engineering tech from NHI or a tech 100% created by humans?
Okay, and again, Chris, thanks for your question. As I've mentioned earlier, we're not saying all Tic Tacs are Lockheed Martin. And it's quite clear that some Tic Tacs are indeed non-human intelligence, or suspected to be non-human intelligence. But what we're talking about are objects that are showing the 5 observables performing, doing maneuvers and operating in ways that don't conform to terrestrial craft. I can't answer the question definitively whether they are constructed by Lockheed Martin or whether it's Lockheed Martin operating a recovered, retrieved craft. Because what I've been told and what Jake Barber told me in the interview that you've all watched, hopefully on News Nation, is that there have been retrievals of craft, including Tic Tacs. So why is it a surprise to people that a contractor that I'm alleging is directly involved in the legacy program is involved in operating these craft? And moreover, why would we necessarily expect that people, even those flying in the carrier battle group, would actually know about this or be briefed into this? It would have been a really good idea if they were going to test this technology against the carrier battle group to have let the people know. And I think people need to be reminded that my good friend Kevin Day, who I know disputes the possibility that the Tic Tac is Lockheed Martin, in my book, Kevin Day told me, and he said this in many, many interviews, that when I think it was the admiral in charge of the carrier battle group was told about the Tic Tac, he didn't seem very alarmed. Why not? Why aren't people asking these questions? Why was the commander of a carrier battle fleet that was suffering incursions by anomalous objects doing the 5 observables during a hugely important and sensitive naval exercise, why wasn't he concerned about those craft?
So another motherfucking question we should be asking is, were they just so comfortable sending these fucking drones that are so highly classified, to fly among, their airmen that have no idea that this exists? How was this allowed? Fuck, right? Like, David Fravor deserves to be flying one of these things. He can't die and not be able to do so. We got to incorporate this technology, these breakthroughs that are so highly classified, higher than the atomic fucking bomb. We need to get it out there. We need to get it working for the people of planet Earth, right? Yeah, let's get some transparency up in this bitch.
Okay, Russ, you kind of touched on this, but people really want me to ask you directly about David Fravor's comments. James on X said, what is Ross's opinion on retired Commander David Fravor's categorically stating the Tic Tac is not Lockheed Martin? There's a part 2 to this, but I'll let you start there.
Okay, no worries. Let me first say I have nothing but admiration for David Fravor. He's given service to his country, he's a patriot, and he deserves respect and recognition for that. I'm not getting involved in a stoush with a person who's done so much honourably for his country. It's not, though, outside the realm of possibilities. In fact, I think it would be extremely unlikely that if there is, as I know there is, a compartmented secret program where Lockheed Martin is one of the primary contractors operating retrieved non-human technology and attempting to reverse engineer that technology, there is absolutely no way that David would be briefed into that unless it was absolutely necessary for the doing of his job. As we all know, when the government wants to protect a secret, it compartmentalizes it. Even if you have a top secret classification, which I'm sure David probably had, it's also compartmentalized, and that's how the US keeps its secrets. And I've spoken to people, literally, in institutions in the United States, one of whom knows about the program, and the other of whom is in an adjoining office and has absolutely no idea. I've had a situation where I've spoken to the head of a government agency that ought properly to have known about the legacy program. That head of a government agency was not informed about the fact that we are recovering non-human craft and attempting to reverse engineer that technology. A person 2 rungs down was the person that the legacy program was using to gatekeep inside that institution. It's really interesting how they compartmentalise all of this. And so absolutely no disrespect to David Fravor or my good friend Kevin Day, but they're good men. The simple fact is compartmentalisation works.
What about Ryan Graves, guys? Where's this fella at? I'm really curious to know what he thinks, right? I mean, he's a Top Gun pilot too. He's had a lot of experience in the air. What do you think about this compartmentalization and specifically the way they do it? It's so fucking weird, right? Maybe like they've done a extensive amount of thorough research into this and just trying to figure out what to do and how to keep things secret. I don't know, really interesting. Would love to hear how you think this would work personally. Subscribe right now because most of you are not subscribed. 20% of the viewers every fucking month are not like 80%, my bad, are not subscribed. Guys, we need to do this. We need to grow. We need to let the algorithm know that we're serious about this shit, okay? And in conclusion today, if you haven't already, buy some fucking Lockheed Martin stock, okay?
Coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on. Future is coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on.